It is the 26th of March and we are looking at some news headlines. The first thing I'm looking at is this one here from the BBC. Actually, these are all from the BBC, so let's... the state broadcaster, the state mouthpiece. Let's see what the BBC has to say for us. Here's the first one. Why a third wave if so many have been vaccinated? Why indeed? So we are now on 29 million people vaccinated. That's as of yesterday's figures. I'm not sure if today's are out yet. It's only 8:25 in the morning on the 26th of March here. So I was going to say the Chronicle, that's our local rag, the BBC, are going to answer this question for us. It says, restrictions are easing, but with parts of Europe seeing rising infections, should the UK be worried? Well, if you read the BBC and you believe the BBC, then you should definitely be worried. But if you're a real person, a normal person, somebody who's not indoctrinated into this fucking bullshit, then I would say just relax. Just relax. 29 million people have been vaccinated against this virus. So let's have a little look. Lockdown is step by step beginning to ease across the UK. Next week, the stay-at-home order will be lifted in England and people can start mixing in small groups outdoors. Woohoo! Yeah, so from Monday, I believe, the rule of 6 comes back in, where up to 2 households and up to 6 people can meet together outside. Well, hey, that's mint. And then by the 12th of April, which is, let's just have a little look here, 2 and a bit weeks away. So 2 weeks on Monday, you can go to a pub or a restaurant, I believe, and eat outside in the car park or whatever you fancy eating. So that's great. This article goes on to say, the threat is already on these shores. So they're keeping that fear pumping in here. They've got a little graph here showing rising infections from when schools reopened. The BBC is very keen to keep up the fear. Cases rising in 5 to 15-year-olds in England. Daily cases per 100,000 people are shown in this graph, which I'll put up on the screen somewhere here. All articles I'm talking about, I'll link in the description as well, so you can have a look for yourself, you know. But anyway, so this is fear-mongering story number 1. Why care needed even with vaccine rollout? Well, you can still contract the virus when you've been vaccinated. You can still pass on the vaccine when you've been vaccinated, but it will lessen the symptoms. That's what the crack is here. That's what they're saying. So we'll move on from this one. The next thing, I'm not actually even seeing them covering this, but the thing I wanted to talk about was that the Coronavirus Act has been extended till October, as anybody with half a brain knew it was going to be, despite claims that all restrictions will be ending in June. Yet they felt the need to carry these draconian measures up until October, and come October I'm sure they'll be going on again. I talked about this in the last video, like, I mean, do you believe that come June the government are going to be into their step 4, which as they're calling our next step to freedom? I mean, but there's nothing in here, nothing on here at all about the Coronavirus Act being extended. I'll just double check to make sure I'm not missing it, but I'm on like the main BBC News homepage here. No, I'm not seeing any of it. That's pretty crazy. I thought they would be, bearing in mind that the government voted on this yesterday. There's nothing in here about it. I did read something yesterday, but not from the BBC, but they've got nothing on here. So the most read article they're saying is China bans UK MPs after Uyghur abuse sanctions. I have read some stuff about this, but at the moment I'm more interested in sort of home affairs, to be honest. And let's have a look what else they're covering. So they're saying here the papers, so they're going in the headlines. They've got the Guardian and the Daily Star. Don't know why they're covering those two, but anyway, so they're leading with UK plans October booster jab and pub passport fury. So there's talk about, like, I have discussed on this channel, I mean dozens of channels on YouTube discuss this vaccine passport thing that's going on. I'm trying to do less of the air doofer things, air quotes, one of my friends who watches these videos said I should do less, so I'll do less. So there you are, Andy. The papers, UK plans October booster jab and pub passport fury. So people are up in arms about this because it's like an infringement on your human rights. It's against the law actually to do this. I believe I'll have to have a more in-depth look into this and maybe do a whole video on the passport that's clearly coming, or that they would like to see coming. Is it going to come? I don't know. It's like everything that's happening at the minute is a real mystery. It's hard to predict anything that's happening other than in broad terms they're going to carry on with the restrictions. That's pretty plain to me, and I think it's pretty plain to anybody who's kind of reading the news regularly, who can interpret what these politicians are all about. They've got no real interest in returning things to the way they were. There's too many people making too much money out of this, in my opinion. So the rest of this is just, I mean, the BBC is supposed to be like the ultimate news source, but this is really just like a bloody magazine or something. This is just all garbage. Coronavirus morning update. Stay local rule in Wales to end from Saturday. Yeah, well, along with the UK restrictions easing, obviously Wales are going along with that. There's some discrepancies between what the different countries in the UK are doing, slightly, but I mean, they're kind of following suit with each other. So obviously, for those who don't know, the UK is made up of England, Wales, Scotland and Northern Ireland. I'm sure most people do know that, but just in case anybody didn't. And they all have their own kind of local lawmakers and politicians, all under the umbrella of the UK government. So the number 2, hauliers must expect COVID test to enter the UK. So I guess they're going to say you have to test negative to get through the border. I guess that's fair enough. The test is too bad. My wife's having to do a test for work a couple of times a week, and my son, who's in secondary school, he does a test a couple of times a week just to show that he's not positive. But like these tests are questionable. Number 3, what might a third wave of COVID look like? I'm not even reading this because this is total speculation and fear-mongering. Number 4, I've only left my home 5 times this year. Jesus. Well, never mind, eh? 18 months ago, Michaela Hollywood was repeatedly jetting across America for her work in disability rights. Since coronavirus arrived, however, she's only been able to leave her home in Northern Ireland 5 times. Michaela, who has the degenerative condition spinal muscular atrophy, tells BBC Ouch what it's been like to shield for an entire year. Well, I imagine it's been horrendous. These people have been so frightened. Obviously, people are free to do as they please, but I think it's nuts to have been staying home for a full year. I know I've mentioned it before, and again, somebody who watched this pointed it out that I always mention it lately. But I broke my foot pretty badly, and I was stuck at home for 3 months, almost solid. I barely left the house, and I was cracking up. That was January, February, and March, with being stuck at home. And I wasn't stuck at home because of COVID, but literally I could barely walk. It was really bad. I'll stop whinging about my foot. The 5th top story, inside the saviour of humanity vaccine factory. I mean, the language that the BBC uses is just mad. Like, it's saviour of humanity vaccine factory. Bear in mind that this is a virus with a 99.5% plus survival rate. Almost all of the UK's AstraZeneca vaccine supply comes through Wockhart UK's factory in North Wales. It fills the vaccine into sterile vials, inspects it dozens of times, and sends it out for distribution. BBC Breakfast was given access to the plant labelled a saviour of humanity by Prime Minister Boris Johnson. Alright, Wurzel says so. And then there's a video there. I'm not playing the video. You can watch it yourself. Like I say, I'll link this page up and you can see all of this in its full glory. And that's it. That's kind of today's coronavirus news. Don't forget, Find more information, advice and guides on our coronavirus page, and then you can link to this page. There's been a lot of talk about COVID passports to enable travel this summer. Here's what European countries are doing. And then there's a link to another article, which I'm not going to go into because this is total speculation. Coronavirus in the UK, total deaths 126,445 with 63 new deaths. That's from a population of 70 million people. 63. Still in lockdown. Total cases 4.3 million with the trend going well down. Still new cases 6,397. 5,000 and odd people in hospital. 28.991 million people have had the first dose of the vaccine now. On the increase, which hopefully is good news, which means hopefully they're going to start opening things up. 29 million people is a decent chunk of the population. This is the first one of these style videos that I've done, kind of looking at the day's news from the BBC. It's laughable, really. It's laughable that this is what passes for news on here. It's fear mongering and kind of pointless crap, really. It's like watching one of their magazine shows on TV, or flicking through the magazine that used to come in the Sunday paper. Might still come in the Sunday paper, I don't know. I no longer buy newspapers, but I remember when I was a kid and used to deliver newspapers, I always used to like having to flick through the magazines that came with them to see if there was anything interesting. And obviously I used to like looking at page 3 in the Sun. Not that we get that anymore. Brighten up your morning when you're 14. It's pissing down outside, you're delivering newspapers for £10 a week, which I used to do morning and night, 7 days a week. Well, just mornings on a Sunday back in the day. Yeah. Quiz of the week. How did the latest royal baby arrive? Gives a fuck. Then there's another video from the police, obviously trying to make you feel sorry for them. Cases you'll think about for months afterwards. Yeah. Obviously, if you want to read and watch any of this stuff in its full glory, just click on the link that I'm putting in the description. You can see all of this stuff. Hey. Oh, anyway, I was meant to mention in the last video, we've passed 100 subscribers on the channel, which thanks very much. I appreciate people watching it. I hope you're not just watching it for Amazon Flex videos or these. Just watch. I hope people are watching all of it. I mean, I try not to be too judgmental on here when I'm going through the news and that, but it's sort of difficult not to be. I try to keep it kind of neutral and realistic, you know. But there's so much stuff in here. It's full on clown world bullshit, and it's hard work sometimes. Hopefully restrictions are easing, and it will happen. I hope that I'm completely wrong. I do genuinely hope that we reopen in January, because I've had enough. You've had enough. Everybody's had enough, except some people obviously haven't, because they love it. Some people seem to be really into this. Like, it gives them a righteous thing to complain about constantly on Facebook and on the internet generally, you know, Twitter. It gives somebody like a righteous platform where they can berate others. It's like, oh, you're not even wearing a mask. Oh. Yeah, it keeps people happy, I suppose. It gives them something to complain about. It gives them an enemy, which obviously people love to have. So I just wanted to do a quick video here. I just want to have a quick look at the news. I really wanted to do something on the Coronavirus Act, but what the hell is there to say? The Coronavirus Act has gone through. A few people have voted against it. Steve Baker MP, who I covered in the last video, had some valid questions that he asked Matt Hancock, which Matt Hancock didn't answer. I don't know if you watched it yesterday. It was dull. It was long. Everything stayed in, really. All the draconian extra powers that this act gives to the police and the government in general have remained. They've cancelled a couple of bits and pieces that really made no odds at all to the act, and it hasn't restricted their control, if you like. Well, here we are. I don't know. Did you like the new intro I've made for the video? Probably not. Let me know in the comments what you thought of it. As always, thanks for watching, and like, comment and subscribe, and I'll catch you later.